Okay guys, after taking a look at the mica trimmers, you can see 10 of them, one for the oscillator section, one for the antenna section, with 5 selections in total, with one manual selection on the switch, of course, that attaches back to the tuning condenser and directly to the oscillator coil. I'm going to remove these. Only 2 of the 10 were actually stable and in good shape, so I'll redesign the push button trimmers. And giving the old switch assembly a bath in some citric acid and warm heated water, running it through multiple cycles. Then following up, giving the old switch assembly a good rinse with water before air drying, as you can see here, really well. Then I'll do some additional cleaning, followed by some lubrication. Just going over the switch assembly with cotton swabs with alcohol to do my initial cleaning, and of course I need to desolder all the pigtails, the lead outs you can see that went back to the mica trimmers. Remove those. And just a quick check of the switches. You can see that one spring there is off. I'll need to get that back on in the 3rd position. And definitely starting to take shape now. Again, a little bit more TLC. And I'll go ahead and start soaking the tuning condenser here. You can see it's pretty nasty, grungy, and definitely has some surface rust as well. I'll use, again, the ratio 1 teaspoon with basically 2 cups of heated water. Run that through the ultrasonic cleaner multiple cycles. I'll remove the mica from the trimmers on the top and the bottom, and get this thing soaking. See if we can make it look a little better. And back outside just for a moment using the jet stream. See if I can free up some of the crud off the tuning condenser before placing this back in the ultrasonic cleaner, as I mentioned, for multiple cycles. And that's starting to look a little better. Still a ways to go though. And while the tuning condenser is soaking in the ultrasonic cleaner, I'm clean those mica sheets and de-rust the set screws as well. Then back to the push button switch assembly after getting the leads unsoldered and cleaned up. Still just a little residue there to get off with some cleaner. And I still need to fix that one spring that's popped out of its position as well. Of course, all the old grease was removed, or the majority of the old grease that I could clean out around the switch assembly. So I'll just be placing new grease in those areas on the back side and the front side, just using some Labelle 206. And removing the tuning condenser from the old grungy, nasty water, and you can see the kind of worn out Scotch-Brite pad that I'll use to do some additional cleaning, the 7448. And after doing the initial cleaning, and again it's just a little stiff now, you can see I'll be applying some of the Labelle grease into the bearings and some oil as well. And then just rotating the shaft of the tuning condenser back and forth to work in the lubrication. Thing is smooth as can be now. And it looks a heck of a lot better as well. Let's do some basic performance test of the tuning condenser just to make sure that we're good there. We'll just put my meter in the diode mode. You can see I'm just checking here from ground. So I'm just checking between the stator and rotor for each section, the oscillator section and the antenna section, rotating it through just to make sure that we don't hear a beep, which would indicate I have a shorted plate, and it's nice and clean and clear, so it's good. We should be just fine. Again, I'll do some additional capacitance checks here as well, and rotate it through the range for each section, oscillator section and antenna section that you're looking at now, which is the front section. And just a noting as well, the oscillator section. And another quick look, I've got the drum back on the tuning condenser, and the switch assemblies clean as well. So I think that cleaned up pretty well. Looks a heck of a lot better than it did. Just a little pitting on the drum itself where the dial cord is placed, but no big deal there at all. I think it's going to work just fine. And the dial assembly lubricated now. The spring back in place that was mislocated, and I think we're going to be good to go. I'm going to use the diode check feature on the multimeter, and just so I can hear a beep, and I'm going to check the switches as I push in each button and check each contact just to make sure the switch is performing the way it should. And just doing all the checks. I'll speed up the video here, but everything checked just fine for the antenna section and the oscillator section. So again, to recap, everything tests well on the switch itself. And I'm going to adjust the antenna section, that being the front to the right closest to the drum and the rear section to the left. Based on the spreadsheet that I'm sharing, you'll see the numbers in blue, so I'll go ahead and do that offline. Then I'll come back and expand more on the spreadsheet in a future video. I appreciate you guys watching. Everyone out there, take care and stay well.